Hey everyone, it is classic tabletop RPG series time, and we're bringing it all to a conclusion for our character creation in Gamma World 4th edition, and we're doing it right now. Welcome to RPG Elite. Like that? Where we put the RP back into RPG, giving you tools, tips, tutorials, and apparently talk on how to make your RPG experience more immersive and enjoyable. I want to welcome everyone to the channel, new and old alike. And if you have been returning to the channel, because most of you who do return to the channel are not subscribers. So if you keep coming back and you haven't subscribed, well, come on now. Hit the subscription button, hit that notification bell, and you'll be getting a lot of unique content here on this channel for your RPG experience. To up your game, baby. Literally up your game. So we've been going through and we've been making these characters for our one-shot session that we're going to wrap this whole series up. And I think we had to push the schedule out all the way into, what was it? I want to say April. I think April now is when we pushed it all the way. It might be at the beginning of May. I'm not sure. I have to look at it. But into April, beginning of May is what we're looking at to make this one shot. And we were creating the characters for that one shot and using every edition of Gamma World to make one of the 4 characters that we're going to use. Now, some people have asked me in the comments, a couple people, which version of Gamma World would you suggest or do you like the best? I don't like those questions because, number one, to a large degree, this is subjective, right? Now, for me personally, which I'm just going to go from that. For me personally, I believe that the best out of all the, now we're only covering 4 of the 7 editions that have come out, but out of all of those, I'm going to say that the one that I gravitate towards obviously is going to be 3rd edition, even though it is a hot mess. And if you have not seen the videos where I talk about 3rd edition Gamma World in depth, because that's a different monster all by itself, then you need to go there right here. You need to go and click on this card or wait for this video to get done and then click on the link in the description below to find out the full Monty on 3rd edition Gamma World. It's actually, I don't know how many videos. I think I did 2 or 3 videos. I'm getting lost here, okay? Did a couple videos. Now, the one thing that I want to say is thank you for all you people. Again, what has been going on this month is absolutely fantastic. I find that I am coming to make videos as a means of relaxation. That's crazy. I thought, maybe, I like playing, I think 2 or 3 MMORPGs. And a lot of times, those, they stay on the backwater a lot of times because I'm busy doing other stuff. But I'm telling you, I like just making videos. It's something, I don't know, cathartic for me. And I've just discovered this. So this is another thing that will bring relaxation to my life. And I love this. And I want to thank you guys for supporting me. Thank you guys for all the love. Thank you guys for the engagement and the comments. I want you to keep it coming. I want you to grow this channel because you're the only ones who grow this channel. Without you, I'm just talking into the ether, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but we have a lot of politicians that do that. So, well, there that is. All right, so let's go ahead, get started with the final video for creating our mutated gorilla, Bondo. We got Bondo, we got Poro, which is the mutated reindeer I talked about, and we've got Oki, and that is a lot of O's. Oki, Poro, Bondo, jeez, oh Pete's. So let's get started finishing making Bondo, our mutated gorilla, in 4th edition Gamma World. So let's do this like Brutus, because you always knew this. What? Okay, so here we are back at Battle Station RPG Elite. And we're going to finish up Bondo, our mutated gorilla, here in Gamma World 4th edition character creation. Now, I actually went and changed this over here for my constitution because I didn't know how to add in the last 2 videos. Okay, so for this video, we got a couple things that we need to do, more than a couple things, and we're gonna go roll right through it. First thing we're gonna do, we're gonna roll for his money, because he needs to buy some equipment. So Bondo needs a little bit of Skrilla. So I already have a macro for that, but let me tell you the actual formula itself. So the formula for your starting Domars, which is the currency in Gamma World, and that is no matter which edition that you play, it's Domars or gold in some editions if you want to go back to that, but I think I like Domars better. So the amount of Domars that you received is a 250 base, so it's 250 plus 1d10 times 10. So I already have a macro for that, and I'm just going to click the chat over here, and we're just going to roll and see what the result will be. 270. So I am going to put that in the money right here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we got to get him his equipment, and we got to pull up the equipment table. And the first one I'm going to pull up is the weapons and armor equipment table. Whoops, let's go here and do this. And I'm just going to put this over to the side right here. Move that over a little bit, and we'll take a look at this right here. Okay, so these are the weapons that he will have to choose from, and down here is the armor that he will have to choose from. So what I am going to do is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to choose these weapons, and let me go over this chart real quick just so you know what you're looking at. So the first thing for the weapons is the base damage, and there will be some modifiers for that, but we won't get into that until we get into combat. So just know that base damage is here. There's short range, the rate of fire, which is how many you can do, the average cost, so that's really all we're going to be interested in for this video. How much it weighs, that matters when traveling, and the tech level itself. If the GM has said it's going to be a tech level 2 campaign, well then you would only be able to choose tech level 2 weapons. If you're going real primitive and saying it was only a tech level 1, then there you go. So that's for all of the weapons, and these are ranged weapons. Over here are the melee weapons, or melee, however you want to say it. And then over here is the armor. So let me go ahead. I'm going to meet you on the other side as I go through and choose what I want to give Bondo with his 270 Domars. All right, so here we are back with Bondo, and now he is geared out. So let's take a look at some of the things that I got for him. So I think I'm gonna go down. Oh, I can't go down anymore. Can I make it bigger and go down? Go up or whatever? Maybe I need to go up. Who knows? Okay, well, we're going to look at his weapons, going to look at his armor, going to look at his other gear here. Now, I got him a flint-tock pistol. And as you can see here, the flint-tock pistol does 2d8 damage. So it does some pretty hefty damage there, but that's not why I picked a flint-tock pistol. I picked a flint-tock pistol because there is something oddly satisfying about imagining a mutated gorilla going around shooting people with an ancient pistol in the face. I don't know why that is a satisfying vision in my head. I don't know. It's just maybe I'm weird like that. That's definitely got to be a dude thing. There's just something just oddly satisfying about just picturing that, right? And then we have some melee things for him, which is a mace right here. And here's what's funny about that. So the mace does 1d6 plus 1 damage, which means it can do a maximum of 7 points of damage. Did you know that just by himself, his fist can do the same amount of damage? So he could drop his mace and still smack somebody in the face and do potentially the same amount of damage, because his damage modifier is so high for unarmed combat. I looked that up, and that is really cool. All right, so we've got some armor here. I got some bandit mail, which is pretty good. As you can see over here, bandit mail comes down at the end here with a +6. So it's just 1 off from plate mail, but I didn't want him to go around with, with plate mail. That's pretty ridiculous. But then again, it is a mutated gorilla with a flint-lock pistol. So what am I saying, right? But I went with bandit mail at a +6 on the armor class, and a wooden shield, which also gives a +1. Ooh, so I put +2 in there. Oh, I think I need to change that, don't I? And then with the basic gear here at the bottom, I got him some things like a compass, copper wire, map, some musket balls for his flint-lock pistol. Now, if you're not familiar with a flint-lock pistol, they're the ones that you have to actually, pack in the gunpowder, put the musket in there, and then shoot, which means that, as you can see here, the rate of fire is once every other round. So it takes a while to get the thing all up and ready to go in action. So that's another reason. There's a benefit of the high damage, but the rate of fire being once every other round. But I got some other things that I think that he, as a thinker, kind of would have, right? And he's still you got to understand, he's still a gorilla. So there's still some leftover traits and things from him being a gorilla. Not a normal gorilla, obviously, but still a gorilla. But I've got an idea that's forming in my head as far as what I want him to look like. So I got him some paper, some quillet ink, some water skins. There's some basic stuff. All right, and let's go ahead and look at the basic equipment list, because in Gamma World 4th edition, it's expansive enough. And then if there's nothing on the list, obviously you can come up with a price and a weight and so forth and a tech level pretty easily. But most of the things on here didn't cost as much. I think the thing that cost the most out of the things that I got was a copper wire, which cost 15. Copper wire costs 15, and I got that right down here. Copper is 10 meters. It costs 15 domars. But that was a common equipment, and you already saw the weapons and so forth. So that's what we have for his gear. Now let's go ahead and look at and what I want here. Oh, that's the journals. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this here. We're going to look at his class benefits. I want you guys to get an idea of what you can expect from your class benefits. Let me bring this down here. There we go. Put it up just a little bit more. Okay, there we go. So let's take a look at this. So I made a mistake in the last video saying that everyone gets 5 skills. They don't get. It's 3 to 5 skills, and it depends on which class that you choose, how many skills that you get. I think the Enforcer gets 3, the Esper gets 5, the Examiner gets 4, and the Scout gets 5. But let's go ahead. Let's take a look at the Examiner class benefits. Those are different from the skills themselves. This is not the skills, but these are just the benefits of being a part of this class, or the requirements. So number 1, got to come from at least a tech level 3 culture. As we explained earlier in other videos, and if you're not sure, click the card up top and you can go there, and where I discuss how tech level is figured out in 4th edition.
He has to be a part of a tech level 3 culture because he's an examiner. He's a thinker. He's smart. Then on the next one here, this is a good one. Starts the game with a tech level 4 item. And we're going to go ahead and roll for that tech level 4 item later. So, and you automatically get it where it's powered up or it's got full ammo and it's ready to go. That is cool. Your initial +1 to use artifacts and robot recognition, and that's going to be affected by whether or not, as a mutated animal, you choose human characteristics or not. Then you go to each level advance, you're going to get a +1 bonus to your use artifacts. And then you have 16 points to distribute among the skills. So the skills are Avoid Artifact Disaster, Jury Rig, Read Schematics, and Repair Artifact. I already got those ready to go here. Now, Avoid Artifact Disaster basically means that in Gamma World, the things that we know about, the technology and things we know about, they don't. So once they find an artifact, they're not sure how to use it. And there is a specific system, and we'll be going through that for all of the editions of Gamma World that we're going through, 1st through 4th, on how to figure out how an artifact works. That is a whole process and a little mini game in itself, and I love it. That's one of the things I love about Gamma World, the figuring out artifacts. And in this process of figuring out artifacts, the thing can blow up in your face if you do the wrong thing, right? So if you're pointing a gun at your face and you don't know what it is and you pull the trigger, then you could, you can blow your face off or something, or at least shoot yourself. So as an examiner, you have this skill called Avoid Artifact Disaster. But this is good for when you have to figure out how an artifact works. The next one is Jury Rig, which sounds exactly what it is. He can, kind of kit bash things in the field and is good at putting things together from bits and pieces of other things that are in the field. So that's a cool skill. He can read schematics. Now understand, again, you're talking about things that happened before the cataclysm, and none of these creatures were around. Some of the people weren't even around. And so this is all these things are new. The schematics are new. It's just like reading, a new language. It's gobbledygook. But for an examiner, they can figure it out. They can read schematics. They can read the schematics of the ancients. And so they have an ability to be able to do that. Kind of cool like that as well. But I think the big one out of all of the skills that an examiner gets is this Repair Artifact. That's pretty cool because if something does happen to the artifact, an examiner can go and repair it. This is a long thing, in the process on how to repair it. But that you have a chance to repair an artifact that may have been damaged. That is really cool. As I'm looking through all of them, that I believe is one of the most useful ones that the examiner has. So as you can see, this is what I'm talking about. These classes, of course, they work like all classes in other RPGs. You get some benefits and some certain things that the class gets at the start. They get specific skills and advantages and benefits. So now let's figure out these derived attributes. Now I have called them on this character sheet derived details. But we're going to look at each of these in detail, but I'm going to go through them kind of quickly because I think that, you don't need to spend too much time on all this stuff. So they're derived because they are coming from other abilities that you've already figured out, your physical abilities or your mental abilities, except for armor class. That's different. But first, let me go ahead and pull up the derived attributes table so we can take a look at it here. All right, and let me make this a little bit bigger. Okay, so here is a summary of your derived attributes table here. And we're just going to go through these one by one over here. Let me move this over a little closer so I can probably just zoom in just a little bit so you guys can see a little better. So let's go through this. So the first one is armor class. You're probably very familiar with that, but let me explain how it works in Gamma World 4th edition. Now in Gamma World 4th edition, you start at an armor class of 10, which means you have no armor. And then you add modifiers to it to bring it up. And so the higher your armor class number, the better. And that makes sense, right? Back in the day, they used to start at 10 and then go lower for a better armor class, which confused a whole lot of people who were just starting out and made no sense. You just had to actually get used to it. Why it went down instead of going up doesn't make any sense to me. Still will never ever understand that. But at least in 4th edition Gamma world, it makes sense. I mean, you have the modifiers that go up, the higher, the better. Better protection for you. Let's go ahead and look at Bando's armor. So he's got Bandit Mail. That's an armor class modifier of 6. And then he also has a wooden shield. That's an armor class of 1. So that's going to be 17. But also you are going to add to your armor class your dexterity modifier. So Bando has a modifier of 1. So that means in total, he's going to have an 18 armor class, which is pretty good, folks. That is a pretty good armor class to have. Nice. Now let's go on to THAC, which is 2-hit armor classes. What it means, this is going to be the basic combat skill for being able to hit your opponent. And we have 2. We have THAC M and THAC R. THAC M is for melee. THAC R is for ranged. THAC M is going to equal your PS modifier, and THAC R is going to equal your dexterity modifier. So for THAC M for Bando, he's going to get a 4, which is pretty darn good. And then for THAC R, he gets a 1, which is not bad. It's better than 0, right? Okay, let's move on to health. So your health is your character's ability to resist effects such as radiation, biohazard stuff, biogenetics, disease, poison, that kind of thing. And so it has its own score. It's going to be 10 plus whatever your constitution modifier is. And so for Bando, he has a modifier of 3. So he's going to have a health of 13, which I'm going to assume, knowing what I know, that's not bad. That's pretty good. Let's move on now to your mental defense, which is what MD stands for here. Now, mental defense is basically your mental armor class. And you get it, where is it at? Here it is, MD. And you figure it out by starting at 10 again and adding your MS modifier. Now, this is the only one so far that Bando is just going to have a base of 10 because he has no MS modifier here. Oh, so sad. So sad. Let's move on. MHAC, which is basically like THAC, except it's for mental mutations to hit with mental powers. And so what happens here is that you will take your MP modifier. So how do you find your MP modifier? Basically, you go down to your mental mutations here and you start looking at the score, your MP. That's your MP. And you start looking to see whether or not it's high enough to have a modifier. Let's go to that real quick so you guys can just see again. Remember this one? So the only one that has a modifier out of all the ones that Bando has is his displacement. That has a +1 modifier. I can put 1 in there and be safe, but if you had more than 1, and I don't have it on my sheet here, but if you had more than 1, then you'd have to have your MHAC like on the side here for each one. If you had more than 1 that could do it. But since he only has 1, I'm going to put my MHAC here for a 1 for his displacement and only for his displacement. And that's it. So that's how that works. So MHAC is going to be for every mental mutation that qualifies. Every mental mutation that qualifies. Okay, let's go back to our derived attributes. Get that back up on the screen. There we go. And let's move on with perception. Perception. Now, I'm not real sure if this is extraneous or not. I think it kind of is, but it's just me. But let's move on. So perception is the character's ability to notice something when they're not trying to look for it. So your senses would be when they're trying to look for it, and your perception it would be when they're not. It's kind of like your general awareness, sixth sense, intuition type of deal. So you take perception and you figure that out by taking whatever your senses score is and adding your intelligence modifier to it. So let's go up a little bit so we can see the whole deal here. So his senses is 10. And he adds his intelligence modifier of 2, which means he's going to have a perception of 12, which is not that bad. I don't think that's that bad. Then you have another one, again, maybe a little bit extraneous, but let's move on. This is the RU here on the sheet is the remain unseen attribute. And obviously that is your character's ability to hide or to remain undetected in some way. So the average is 0. And once you look over here, it is your intelligence modifier. So if the average is 0, he's got a pretty good remain unseen for a gorilla. Maybe it's because he's black, right? He kind of blends into the shadows. Yeah, that could be. Hey, see, you can come up with stuff once you think about it. So he has a remain unseen of 2. And then we're going to RR, which is robotic recognition. Now, when you talk about robots in Gamma World, they're a big deal. Whether a robot will ignore a character is based on the character genotype. It will not ignore pure strain humans. So they can take, they will be able to take orders from them. They won't attack them. But the others, it may ignore or even attack. So it just depends on the situation. So with robot recognition, it's going to depend on what genotype you are. So it starts at 20, then it goes either up or down from there. Now, for mutated animals, it is automatically a -6. Now, if they do not take a human attribute like speaking or walking or those kind of things, then it will also be another 2 tacked onto that, which means it'll be a -8. Now, I have decided that Bondo does not speak. He does sign language. So we're going to be rolling for that extra physical attribute because of that. I had to think about it for a second. So he's going to have a -8 to his robot recognition, which is going to take him all the way down to 12. Ain't that great? And you might want to mess with that because, okay, he is a gorilla. So they kind of, sort of look, kind of, sort of. But since he doesn't speak and all the rest of that, we're just keeping it pure for this character generation, right? So we're going to move on. And now we're going to speed. And speed is your base walking speed for movement. And that is going to be your base plus your dexterity modifier. Now, to figure out your base for a mutated animal, let's go back to that table. All right, I'm going to move this around here. Okay, so I went back here to the animal stock for Bondo as a gorilla. And his base speed is 13. So that's how you find that. So he has a base speed of 13. If we go back to the derived attributes, we see that we add a dexterity modifier. So he's got a 1. So that means that he's going to have a speed of 14, which is probably, it's a little faster than normal. Most definitely. So this gorilla can move, y'all. And next on the list here is stealth. Now, stealth is obviously how sneaky can they be? How can they move without being detected or moving quietly, so on and so forth. And stealth is figured out here and equal to your dexterity modifier. So again, Bondo has a 1. Oh, whoa, I didn't mean to do that. That's a mistake. Don't do that. Do this. There we go. I guess pressing 1 actually rolls the dice. That's cool. I didn't know that. Learn something new every day. And last but not least, we have use artifacts. Though that becomes very important in Gamma World, by the way. Has a use artifact ability here, and it is equal to the intelligence modifier. So he gets a 2 because the intelligence modifier over here is 2. But remember, He is an examiner. And remember, one of the benefits of being an examiner, automatically gets a +1 to their use artifacts. So Bondo has actually a 3 in his use artifacts. All right. Well, there we go. We've got all of the derived details or derived attributes. We've got all of those done. How cool is that? Very cool. Next thing on the list is, remember those 16 points from the skills? And let's go back to this. And I'm going to put the examiner class benefits here so you guys can see. So remember, we have 16 points to distribute among our skills. So I'm going to catch you on the other side as I figure out how many points I'm going to put into each of these 4 out of the 16 here. And then I'll show you what I did. All right, so I've gone ahead and I've done a little something. So I added a little score box here for each of the skills. And I've decided to go with a higher repair artifact because I just think that that's going to be the bomb skill to have out of all the rest of them. Gave him a 4 in the jury rig and the read schematics, and he already has this bonus to his intelligence. So I figured I could take a point from there and put it down in the repair artifact, and he would be good to go. So that is the place where that's how I've done the skills in terms of the score that he has for each. All right, so now we get to go to roll for hit points. Rolling for hit points, folks. So what we're doing here is it's the same as in the other editions. You take your Constitution, right chair, and you take that many 6-sided dice and you roll them, and that is going to be your score for hit points. Now, here is the deal, though. You don't add your Constitution modifier, unlike in 3rd edition where you did add your modifier. So I don't know. You can not get you can get a raw deal on that, but I don't think he's going to get a raw deal. Well, he could. I mean, what if he rolled all ones? Goodness, that would be horrible. But we're getting ready to see 18d6 is what he's going to roll to get his hit points. So let's do it. Meh. 58 points. 58 hit points. Remember now, he's got seizures too, so we can kind of put that as an explanation if that seems a little low, right? Okay. So we've got our skill points put into our skills, and we've got one more thing though. Remember, I said that I was going to get that bonus physical mutation, y'all. And so having him, even though it would be so cool to have him talk, but I think it's more of a role-playing challenge to have him not talk and to have him do sign language. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to get that extra. We're going to get that extra one for sheezy. Let's go ahead and look at this mutation list again. We're going to get a physical mutation now. We're going to roll here on the table. We're going to see what we get by rolling that percentile dice. And let's go ahead and click that open and let's see what we get. 25. Energy metamorphosis. You mean to tell me that he's going to be able to change an energy into some other type of energy? I'm going to assume that's what that means. So hold on one second, because I'm going to pause the video and just jump to the actual description of this so we can look at this together. All right, so I went ahead, took a look at it, got it all set up here under the physical mutations. Check it out. So the mutant can convert the first 10 points plus the MP modifier, that's a mutant power modifier, of damage from a particular type of physical energy attack and use it to heal himself. So you have to choose which energy type he does this from. If the character has excess energy to convert and no damage to heal, it creates an overload, and the mutant takes double the remaining energy damage as normal damage and cannot convert energy for the next 6 rounds. So you use the same table as the energy absorption, or the energy absorption table, to figure out what kind of energy. And just because it's very simple, he does radiation, so he absorbs radiation energy. So that's a cool kind of power, but you got to be careful. Obviously, you got to be careful with that. So we got to roll a score for that, just like we had to roll a score from all the rest of these. And let me see, number of mutations, mutation table, and mutation score. Gonna go over here to the chat window, and this is the last thing that we're doing for Bondo. So let's make it good, y'all. Let's see if we can get something good here. Mutation score. Come on, dude. Hurting the brother. Man. A 7. Goodness. So he doesn't do it very well. Doesn't do it very well. But hey, ups, downs. He's got some good scores here. He's a pretty good balanced character. I like him. And that, folks, is the end. I'm going to change this back again. Jeez, so annoying. But that is the end, folks, of making our character in 4th edition Gamma World. And be assured, Bondo will be showing up again.
And there it is, folks. Bondo, 4th edition, Gamma World. Now, I'm not real sure which version of Gamma World we're going to do, but probably 3rd edition, because that's the one that I grew up on, and that's the one that's the different one from all the rest of them. And I like that kind of challenge, but I have that. I have all of the games, so I have all 4 editions of these games. But the one that I'm going to gravitate towards and push, because I spent a lot of time on it, and it is a simple system without being simplistic. Don't like simplistic systems. So more likely we're going to be doing the whole campaign in 3rd edition. That creates more work for me, but that's okay, because I am digging what I'm doing. And so when we do our one shot, expect to see that ACT. Once again, don't know what I'm talking about when I talk about the ACT. Come on now, right here. Whoop, 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 right there. Click on that video, find out what I'm talking about in the ACT and 3rd edition Gamma World. All right, you know what time it is, right? It is time for me to
select stage left.
Oh yeah, so say it with me now. Happy gaming.